You're listening to the 40 Fit Radio podcast, dedicated to the 40-plus community. Join us as we discuss the truth about fitness and health using science, reason, and the experiences of our host and content experts. Welcome to the 40 Fit Nation. Hey, welcome back to the 40 Fit Radio podcast, and welcome back to the 40 Fit Nation. I'm your host, Coach D, and co-host
Trent.
Coach Trent, and we are here this morning.
I sound like Tony the Tiger. I don't know what that was.
Trent. And we are here in sunny Texas. I think it's going to be 87 degrees today on a Tuesday morning, and we are in April. In the middle of April. And this is actually our 50th episode. Woo-woo. This is our 50th episode, and I'm excited that we've made it through 50 episodes.
Yeah. Should we shoot off some fireworks?
Yeah. We
Do you have any fireworks?
Well, I think the city killer would
We need to
disallow
work on
that,
that.
Inside the building at least. But yeah, I mean, we do have a bottle of whiskey in here, but it's a little early for that. It is 8:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. So
yeah. You need to wait till at least 10 a.m.
Yes,
to crack
exactly.
whiskey. Yeah. That's the goal.
Today we're going to be talking about a subject that is more conceptual than it is anything else, and it is training through adversity. And then we're going to follow that up with an episode on training through injuries that'll be a little bit more specific to training with an injury as one of the issues of adversity. But today we're going to talk about training through adversity and what we see as coaches and what we've seen over the years with individuals who have a successful lifestyle built on fitness, and then they've taken that fitness and they've incorporated that into their daily lifestyle, and they've been really consistent in doing so. Even when you would have thought they couldn't continue on, they still continued on to train at some level, even when adversity hit. And we were talking about this off mic, that training through adversity is a skill that I think anyone who is going to develop a long-term sustainable fitness plan has to develop over time. You're at some point going to be faced with an adversity in your life that is going to derail or detour or turncoat your training in some direction that you don't want it to go in. It might be a direction where it is not existing at all, where training has completely stopped. You might have a significant healthcare need or problem that has to be addressed, and you cannot train. You might have a job situation. You might have a relationship situation, friendships, family situation. Or you might just have a schedule, maybe a schedule situation where your life is just overwhelmed by upcoming events or work projects or whatever it is. You're going to be derailed in your training. We did an episode previously called Life Deloads, and that is really so true. But one of the skills, and I do say it's a skill because I think some people, and Trent said this earlier, some people have a better natural ability to handle these types of things and make it through adversity and stay the course and keep their head down and do the work. And others, it's a little bit more difficult to do that just by the nature of their personality.
Right.
But this is definitely a learned skill. This is something that you have to learn. And I hate to use the term stoicism or being a little bit more stoic, but in some areas of your life, and especially when it comes to your fitness program and your health, you have to become a little bit more stoic. And we're going to talk a little bit about that today in training through these adverse events.
Yeah. I mean, we've observed this many times that the people who make the most progress, whether it's in training or really anything else, are the people who are the most consistent.
Yeah.
They're not the people who necessarily hit it the hardest every single time they go to the gym, right? They're not out to crush every single workout. They just show up for every single workout. Right. And so, learning to train through adversity, really, at the end of the day, when you look over a long period of time, when you look over the time span of years, is about making yourself consistent and building a mindset of consistency. And that drives progress long term.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that by learning to develop. I kind of equate it this way. I've always told my patients over the years, and also the trainees in the gyms that I've owned or been a coach in, that training is like you have to at some point get to the point where training becomes a habit first, and that takes time. It becomes a habit. It's part of your daily routine. And then secondly, that you see it almost as personal daily hygiene. You know, I know that if I don't go, if I miss on my training schedule a day because of, you know, a business event, or I've got some life event going on, or I'm busy or really crazy busy and I'm coaching, and then I get done with the gym and I'm just exhausted. It's, you know, it's 8:00 at night after coaching, like our ladies class or some other class. No offense, ladies, but y'all exhaust me sometimes. And hope y'all are listening. And so, but it's you know, sometimes I'll miss a training day, and it only takes about one missed training day before I'm like, okay, I got to get back in the gym.
Right. You're just dying to get back in.
Yeah. It's like wearing deodorant, brushing your teeth, shaving. Men, if you shave, anything else. Ladies, you put on your makeup, whatever. Hopefully men, you don't put on your makeup, but it's just like anything else. It becomes so routine for you and such a part of your lifestyle that you see it as important, just as important as eating, just as important as drinking, as voiding yourself, as taking care of your body, as showering. It just becomes part of your daily lifestyle. So one of the keys to training through adversity is to first develop a habit line. It's to develop a habit of hitting the gym or the yoga studio or the cycle, whatever you're doing, the pool, whatever you're doing, and hitting it on a regular, methodical, scheduled basis. And I like to train at roughly the same time every day. And that's just the way my mind works. It's just easy for me. But if you have to train at varying hours, that's fine too. But I think learning to train through adversity is first built on your habits. It's first built on, you got to have some solid habits.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And so, you know, I think that the other thing is about training through adversity, and Trent and I were talking about this one concept, and he just said it a few minutes ago, and that is people that we've seen be successful in our gyms as clients, and then also as patients in regards to rehabbing and getting significantly better and getting back to their quality of life. They have learned to not let their emotional ebb and flow of you know, high libido, low libido, high emotion, low emotion, whatever it is, they kind of find a baseline and recognize that I've got to do the work, whether I feel like I need to do it or not. I got to tell you how many clients I've coached over the years where I mean, every session it's a new issue, and most of those issues are strictly based on their lack of mental strength and emotional strength. And so developing some emotional intelligence, some emotional strength is really important to allow to see you through those training days when there are adverse circumstances and where you don't necessarily feel like coming in the gym.
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, those reasons for, you know, not wanting to show up to the gym, a lot of times they're imagined, like we're talking about, right? It's just your ebb and flow in that moment of your mood. Sometimes there's real problems too that we have to train through. And I'll give you a concrete example: biceps tendonitis. You know, a lot of especially male clients that we have, especially middle-aged males, at some point struggle with biceps tendonitis in their squat. And there's a lot of reasons for this, but mainly it's a lack of shoulder mobility. And when they reach a point where their squat becomes very heavy, it becomes difficult to hold that bar in position on their back, right? To hold that rack position in a stable place. And so they might develop a little biceps tendonitis. It's very common, right? The insidious thing about biceps tendonitis is that it usually only takes us one session to fix the grip, to fix the thing that actually caused it. But as we all know, it hangs around. Yeah, it's a biatch, right? Yeah. It hangs around for sometimes 2 or 3 weeks. Yeah. And walking in the gym, feeling that pain, even though you know, because you're working with your coach, that you fixed the cause of that pain, but learning to train through that moment as an annoyance, as something that's just something you're going to have to deal with until you get through it, is an important skill. And that's where a lot of people start to doubt the effectiveness of the program. They're like,
Right,
oh
right.
man, I'm getting beat up. My shoulder's getting torn
I'm
up.
hurting. I'm hurting.
I
I'm
can't do
injured.
this.
I'm injured.
And it does. It hurts.
Yeah.
It really hurts. You know,
Yeah.
it's a thing. But, we know that have gone through it before that it does go away.
Yeah, and there's some modifications to programming that can be done. You know, we can deload the client. We can do several things to offset the intensity of the symptoms. But generally speaking, our goal is to keep you under the bar, keep you doing whatever other activity you're doing. We're going to talk about that a little bit more in injuries. But yeah, I think that's a great example of having to train through adversity. I think, family issues, having family issues.
That's another one. Yeah.
Having relationship issues. The gym can be a safe place for you. The gym can be a place where you can come in, you can get your gear on, you can do the work, you can produce results, you can be successful. You might not be being successful in your relationships at the time. You might be struggling in an area, but this is a great place where you can come in, do the work, and see results. And I think that's a very effective mode to be in. I think that's a good place to be in when you are struggling from adversity in some occasions where you feel like you have no control on the outcome. And training and your fitness program should be an area where you expect an outcome. Now, sometimes that outcome comes at a slower rate than we want, or it comes at a less obvious pace or a less obvious intensity or response than we want. But nonetheless, if we are training with good programming and we are being consistent, you're going to see results and an outcome. And that's the goal. That is the goal. And being able to do that during times of adversity gives you the opportunity to grow and to learn how to not only handle just training, but to handle more adversity. I think the one of the key traits and skills of people who are successful in life, when I look across the board of people that I know that are highly successful in life, and I'm not just talking about monetary success or income or lifestyle, but compartmental success in all areas of their life.
Sure. Yeah.
One common trait that I see is that they have learned during times of adversity to continue to push forward, to continue to do the little things every day that matter. I heard a quote years and years and years ago in a seminar that I went to that was kind of a self-help seminar, and it was, the key to your success is hidden in your daily routine. It's not hidden in the big, huge events of your life. All those big, huge events of your life, including your fitness program and your training and your goals there, are built off the in the trenches, day in, day out, not so fun, not so sexy, not so exciting, getting the work done. And that is one of the things that you have to do to be successful when adversity hits your life. And so no different with training. When you have adversity in your life, see the gym as an outlet. Change your mind's eyes, perspective, and your mindset, and see the gym as an outlet to allow you to gain control in an area where you may not necessarily have control in your life at that time. And that includes training through injuries and health problems. And I'll talk about that a little bit more in the next episode. But something can always be done. Something can always be done. To do nothing is to be satisfied with nothing and to accept that, I can't do anything at all. I have never been in a position in my life where I felt like I couldn't do anything at all. I might have thought in my mind and in my emotions I couldn't, but the reality was that I actually could, and I did do something.
Right.
Even laying in a bed after 4 back surgeries, even after having, life events, losing loved ones, all these different things, something can always be done. And so I think that's one of the keys to training through adversity is you got to get to the point to where, number one, we talked about this becomes a habit. Number 2, you develop a little less emotional you become a little less emotionally labile, and a little bit more stoic in your manner about getting the work done. And then number 3, that you make it part of your daily routine as one of those habits so that you can effectively have the expectation level that every day I'm going to do something. I can do something to change the quality of my life. And we're talking about fitness and the quality of my fitness.
Right, right. Yeah, I think sometimes it's good for us to get some perspective on our problems. And I think one of the things our good friends at Starting Strength have done is to document some everyday people who have worked through some profound issues and injuries. I think I've talked about him before. There's a man named Brian Jones.
Sure.
You can look him up on the Starting Strength website. He's got a presentation he did at one point. But I believe he was in his 40s. He fell off a roof, fell 2 stories, landed on his feet, and just shattered his legs. I mean, just shards. He had that's a pretty profound injury, and he was told, it's like, you need to prepare yourself. You probably not going to walk again.
Sure.
Like, you just need to start thinking about that future. But he's a determined guy. And long story short, you can go look his story up, but long story short, he made a recovery. He stuck to a plan. He was consistent. He lifted the barbell, and now the dude, he deadlifts like 500 pounds.
Well,
and he's not an exceptional. We're not talking about an elite athlete.
No.
We're not talking about a
someone
special
who's
ops
specifically
guy.
Genetically gifted.
He was a family man. I think with
regular old job,
3 or 4 kids, and was an insurance adjuster, and he just had determination and consistency. And so that was not something that was, and he's not an outlier, right? He's not a special snowflake either. He's simply a guy who trained that skill of consistency in working through adversity.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great example. And I think that, it's hard. I have found this to be the case in my clinical setting sometimes when I have a patient that comes in with low back pain, or they've had low back surgery, or they've had shoulder surgery. And I've had, a fair share of some of those procedures. And it's hard to talk to someone because sometimes they don't quite believe you that you are experiencing or have experienced what they're experiencing. And so it's so hard sometimes to relate that and to convey that to them in a manner that there is a sense of credibility and belief, for them, so that for a while they can rely on your belief until they develop their own.
Right.
And that's key. That's key through the rehabilitation process and what we do in treating people. But that's also key, I think, in training through adversity. You have to do the work before the results are there. It's the same with planting a harvest in a field, I mean, we're preaching to the choir with you guys, but I think that you have to do the work before the results are there. And sometimes you have to rely on the belief of others in you that you can do it. I mean, really what we're really saying today to you guys is this is a pep talk. This is a pep talk to say, if you're dealing with adversity in your life right now, if it's relationship adversity, if it's a health issue, if it's a family issue, a job issue, financial issue, whatever it is, do something to get you moving forward through that adversity. Something small. Whatever you do something. You've heard it said 1,000 times probably, the key to insanity is doing the same thing and expecting different results. You have to do something to move yourself forward. And developing really these 3 areas, number 1, developing some habits. Number 2, not being so emotionally high and low, but developing a little bit more stoicism. And then also doing something daily or something small to get you moving forward. Those things are the key to helping you train through adversity. The more you do that, what happens is you start to see results during times of your life where you thought results weren't possible.
Right.
And when that occurs, you develop belief and you develop self-belief. And the belief of others in you and the belief that someone else may have tried to transfer into you is now your own belief. And you become I guess you would say, a believer in that cause to help others make it through what they're making it through, their adversity.
That's the key, right? Is that then you become that beacon. You can pass on.
Yeah, absolutely.
That strength and belief. I want to leave us or this topic with a quote. that we've talked about a little bit before, but this is Henry Rollins' Iron in the Soul essay.
You're sure? That's awesome.
And there's a paragraph that I read from time to time, when I need some things. But I think this points to what you're talking about, that training can become that consistency of training can lift us up when we're low, and it also brings us back down to reality and grounds us when we're high, right? Yeah. It keeps us from recognizing that our successes, our great achievements are simply the result of the hard work, not the work itself, right? And the same thing, that the low points in our life are simply things that we rise up from. The iron never lies to you. You can walk outside and listen to all kinds of talk, get told that you're a god or a total bastard. The iron will always kick you the real deal. The iron is the great reference point, the all-knowing perspective giver, always there like a beacon in the pitch black. I have found the iron to be my greatest friend. It never freaks out on me, never runs. Friends may come and go, but 200 pounds is always 200 pounds.
Yeah, I think that's great. And whether you're into the iron like we are and other things too, or whether you seek solace on the run or in the pool.
I was thinking about, the road, the open road if you're a cyclist. And
yeah, man.
Same thing.
Yeah, or you do it out on a hike, out in the woods, or whatever it is, wherever you're at, get involved in that. Also, if you seek a higher power, if you have a belief system, rely on that belief system. But whatever you're doing, our goal is for you to train through adversity. Thanks for joining us on the 40 Fit Radio podcast, and thanks for joining the 40 Fit Nation. You can find us on Instagram at 40 Fit Radio. You can find us on Facebook at 40 Fit Masters Community Group. You can also reach out to us on email at info@40fit.com and go to 40fit.com and click on the 40 Fit tab or 40 Fit Radio tab and find out more information about what we do. And it's great to have you today, and we'll see you on the next episode.